also giving thanks to my spiritual father, Kinishanabakal. I am here to do your work, and I thank you in advance for your energetic support. Greetings, dear soul. I am Crispy. I am another you. You are another me. We are one Godshiousness. And today I'm here to tell you about Mayan psychology. What I have come to understand is that the Mayan Tzolk calendar, which can be seen as this 260-day map of consciousness, is in fact a map of consciousness. It's also a map of DNA and a fractal for the precession of the equinoxes. It is the only multi-dimensional calendar on Earth, and it came from the Pleiades. So what I'm going to compare for us today is how the Mayan 20 archetypes, these glyphs are actually archetypes, compares to the most famous psychological archetype system by Carl Jung. Now, Dr. Jung had 12 archetypes that he considered to be like images or imprints that exist in what we could call the noosphere, that he called the collective unconscious. And it's like they exist in our outer world, which is really also in our deep inner world. A lot of us are unaware of these. Now, here are the 12 external archetypes as Jung charted them for us, and an interesting thing is you'll notice that there's no warrior here. Lately you've seen so many people going on about the Jungian archetype of the warrior. Well, guess what? There is none, really. That's a twisting of his words. So whoever says that, they're making it up based on what other people made up, really. So now other people have taken Jung's archetypal work and completely adapted it to less than spiritual or psychological means. And another example is what Carolyn Mace has done in this book in particular, talking about the archetypes. And this is my own personal wheel on her system, and you can download this one here that I created, or just email me and I will send you the pure version of this. And I do suggest checking out her system, although she adapted it to the 12th house astrology of the zodiac. So even though your birthday has nothing at all to do with this, she tried to fit the zodiac onto here. So that might help you, and it might not. Now, these 12 archetypes of Jung's, like I said, exist in the collective unconscious, as it were, or as Teilhard de Chardin suggested, in the noosphere. But another very important part of Jungian psychology, and maybe something that's been more popular lately, are his other 4 main archetypes, or core archetypes, if you will. The most famous of those being the shadow. Anyone who claims to be doing shadow work is doing Jungian psychology. They've probably read a lot of Jungian books, maybe those written by Carl Jung himself, or people who've taken his work and adapted it, which is much more common. So shadow work, you have Carl Jung to thank for that, or to curse. The other terminologies you might be interested to know that he created are introvert and extrovert. And part of his, the core archetypes, which I think really needs to be expanded upon, are the anima and animus. So let's get back to his core archetypes. As I said, the shadow and anima, animus. Now, these can be thought of to be actually below the surface level of awareness. So they would be in the unconscious. And Jung said there's a personal unconscious, things that are specific to me. And then the collective unconscious, which is where the 12 archetypes are. But in the personal unconscious, there's the shadow and anima and animus. And those are the male and female versions. So anima, any man has an anima, which is the subconscious, as Carl Jung said, feminine aspects. And any woman has an animus, which is the subconscious male aspects of qualities or personality. So really it's yin-yang, saying that a male person has yin qualities, whereas they, being male, are primarily yang. I think, as we'll see, that's not the most balanced approach to life. So those are the two that are below the surface, and you can see them here. This is a somewhat common image of the iceberg. And here again we can see the four main Jungian archetypes. Below the surface is the shadow and the anima and animus. And above the surface are the ego, which I actually consider to be halfway above and halfway below. And then the main social projection is called the persona. And Jung chose that word carefully because it's Greek for mask, or the fake self, if you will, the people pleaser, or the dramatist, the control mechanisms utilized by the person, which is the false self, really, is what most people use to negotiate their way through the world. And at the core of all of this is what Jung calls the self, with a capital S. Now, you might consider this to be your higher self, or even your soul. So, at the core of everything is the soul, or the higher self. And then on the outer surface is the persona, the mask. And then still on the above the waterline is the ego, as Jung calls it. Below the surface is the shadow, and deeper and harder to get to is the anima, animus, in Jungian conceptualization. Now, what I need to tell you is that in Mayan psychology, for lack of a better term, people call it Mayan astrology, but really this has nothing to do with the stars or planets, despite the fact that, as I said, this is a fractal of the precession of the equinoxes, precisely to the day. Despite that fact, this does not tell you anything at all about where any planets or any stars were the moment you took your first breath and fully entered this body. What this is a map of consciousness. And you could say it is cartography of the soul, which it is. So again, the Mayan system consists of 20 archetypes. These glyphs are archetypes. They are aspects of Godshiousness. And on your birthday, you were born on one of these. And the 13 tones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 are types or varieties of these 20 glyphs. And that's where 260 days is every possible type of person, as it were. So everyone, for example, this is my birthday, tone 7 of the eagle. Everyone who's an eagle has certain similar qualities, and everyone who's tone 7 has certain qualities. And the way that tone 7 influences the eagle is one particular type of person out of the 260 types of people. Now, this image came to me during meditation. I literally felt my right hand being gripped tightly, and I felt my left hand open. And this is what I teach people. This right here is my divine masculine guide and my divine feminine guide. I also teach it like this because it's a little easier to see and it's a little more fun, a little more playful. All right? So this is my birthday, but I have these 4 guides. Everyone has 4 guides. The guides are not truly external. They are showing you what you have in you. And of course, every one of these days has this same pattern of guides. So the level of interconnectivity between all of these Mayan birthdays is extremely high. And the key point is everyone has a divine feminine and divine masculine, which is clear to you, especially when you use Mayan embodiment. Now, Carl Jung put the anima, animus, quite a bit lower down in the unconscious. And for him, especially, we got to think back 120-ish years ago, he was formulating these ideas in Victorian times of a high-class society where the 4 directions and what I call the 4 bodies. So red glyphs is the physical body. Next is the white glyphs, which is the spiritual body that we all have. Then we have blue glyphs, which is the emotional body that we all have. And yellow for the fiery mind, the thinking body. So we all have all 4, and I will display those connections shortly. But for now, on your birthday, you are primarily one of the bodies, for example. I primarily process things emotionally. I am assisted by physicality in my divine masculine and feminine. So, everyone, is born on one of those archetypes. And in the Mayan system, some of them are more masculine, and some of them more feminine, and some of them in the middle. Now, if you watch this video here, it describes them all very well. But for today, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to focus on a few. So with Jungian psychology, we've got the persona, which is like the false self, the ego, which he really developed out of Freudian psychology. And oh, by the way, don't you think that it's utterly fascinating that Freud and Jung have the exact same Mayan birthday, along with these incredible people that I'm not even going to talk about now? And then we have the shadow, which most people never even look at, and I do believe that's very true. And then we've got the anima animus. And I think it could be assumed that if a person were to integrate their shadow and integrate their anima animus and move their persona down into harmony with their ego, which, by the way, is not a negative or bad thing. Jung did not think so either. Then a person could be their true self or higher self or soul. So in the Mayan system, everyone has 4 guides, being your past wisdom guide, your divine feminine guide, your divine masculine guide, and your future vision guide. And those, if you harmonize, if you learn the lessons from your past wisdom, if you balance your divine feminine and masculine, then you'll be able to actualize your future vision, and in so doing, you will become your highest version of your core self. The similarities are clear, I feel. And what's even more clear is seeing your own birthday on the Mayan embodiment system. You can see precisely what the Maya, the Pleiadian Maya, believe to be your likely challenges or blocks to learning your past wisdom, based on a tone and a glyph. And, of course, that goes for each of the positions and your core self, too. So, let's take a look at some of the glyphs. I'm not going to do all of them. That would take forever. No, it wouldn't. It would take a long time. I do very clearly soul-splain these for my clients. So the one glyph that is most deeply connected to the Divine Feminine is called Rainstorm, the 19th glyph. And when we look at the embodiment pattern, we can see that we've got monkey in the past wisdom, and I believe the monkey to be neutral. We've got the serpent in the Divine Feminine position. And while the serpent is definitely sensuous and connected to the chakras and kundalini, I also believe that to be completely neutral. It's probably true that more women in our society are more connected to that, but that's due to societal factors. Did I just say that? Yes, many societal factors. Now, it's when we look at the divine masculine of all people born on the rainstorm glyph that we start to see the inherent balance interwoven into the Divine Mayan Tzolk system. That's right, the divine masculine is called corn. Now this one glyph is in particularly masculine. It's corn, cane, reed, bamboo, those plants that grow strong and straight. It also represents courage and the spine and the father in the home. So the very most divine feminine glyph, rainstorm, has one of the most masculine glyphs as the divine masculine glyph guide. Incredible. Now let's look at corn, which again is Freud and Jung. What do you suppose happens there? One of the most amazing things to me is that whoever is your divine masculine guide, you are their divine feminine guide. So what we see is with the very masculine glyph called corn, the divine feminine is the rainstorm. So again, super highly interconnected and balanced already. Now, for corn people, their divine masculine is called the deer. And the deer is a protector, very much. So you could say it is slightly more masculine than feminine. I do believe that the energy of the mother deer is there, and also Bambi. So very slightly more masculine is the deer than feminine. Now we're going to look at what is possibly the most masculine externally, being the 20th glyph called Ahau. Now this glyph, you can see by the actual glyph itself, is a mask, and you might think of it as a warrior's mask, but it's not. It's a hunter, and the mouth is in the below gun hunter position, which comes from the Mayan creation myth, the Popol Vuh. The hero twins were using blowguns to hunt, so this glyph is very powerful and definitely more masculine than feminine, but let's look at the pattern of the guides. What we see for the past wisdom guide is the traveler, which I consider to be completely neutral. The divine feminine is called reincarnation, and this is a definitely more feminine-oriented glyph than masculine. But when we look at the divine masculine of all people born on the solar chief glyph, we see the jaguar shaman. Now, this glyph is well known to be quite feminine, definitely more on the feminine. Now, this means that everyone who's born on jaguar shaman automatically has the solar chief as their divine feminine. Once again, completely balancing out the divine feminine and divine masculine energies. So, deeply woven into Mayan psychology is the harmonization of divine feminine and divine masculine, learning your wisdom from your past, charting the path to your best possible future. Not only that, every one of the tones has a shadow side, which I call ego dramas. The tones, you may know from the work of Carlos Castaneda, can be called tonal, and the glyphs are nagual. The tones refer to the ego, actually, the persona, if you will, the earth-based small self. The glyphs are more of the spiritual side, and they are called the nagual, tonal nagual. Each position, as I said, consists of a tonal and nagual, so you're balancing the ego and the soul for each position. I can tell you precisely what your shadow ego challenges are for each of those positions. Nothing else like this exists on planet Earth. It was downloaded into me, as I said. I am bringing it through to you, for you. It's what humanity needs now to launch above the social constraints that we've had for thousands and thousands of years. If you do not know your Mayan embodiment, you do not know yourself to the highest level that you can. It was downloaded into me. I am channeling it through to you. It is my life's work. I am here to help raise the consciousness of humanity through this one method. There are many other methods. This is just one, and it works. I guarantee it. I offer a money-back guarantee if you are unsatisfied with your reading, which includes a customized 20-page, sometimes 22-page document, and then a 58-page PDF that everybody also gets, and at least a 90-minute or 2-hour or even more Zoom where I fully soul-splain everything and all your questions. So, I am here to help you become your higher self. Een Lak'esh Alakin. Namaste.